How will the judge interview your child if it's a virtual hearing? Hi, I'm Alicia Kinchloe, the owner of Kinchloe Law, a family law practice based out of the Philadelphia area. Now, nowadays, most of our hearings are happening virtually. Philadelphia County, we're using Ring Central. In Montgomery County, we've used Zoom and other software in order to connect and have some of our cases handled that way. A question arises as to what happens when your child needs to be interviewed. Now, the video just before this one that we dropped yesterday was actually 5 tips for making your virtual hearing go smoothly. And the first tip was to look at your notice to appear. And that's going to actually be the first tip we give today too. Oftentimes in your notice to appear, there are going to be instructions for how the judge wants to handle every part of the custody hearing. And that includes the child's interview. So it's very important for both parties, but especially the party who's going to have custody of the child on that day, to make sure they're reviewing that notice and that they're complying with however the judge wants to set things up. Now, if there's no information in the notice to appear, the judge may schedule or have scheduled a PreChild Conference. And the PreChild Conference generally deals with issues, potential stipulations or agreements between the parties, kind of narrowing down things, but also technical things like how does the judge plan on conducting the hearing? What time does he or she want everyone to log on, how they want the evidence submitted, and then oftentimes how the child is going to be interviewed. And sometimes that's going to vary based on the age and maturity level of the children. Now, in Philadelphia County and Montgomery County, the judges are often talking to children as young as 5 years old, sometimes even a little bit younger. So children like that definitely need some guidance for getting onto the computer and testifying. Older children, however, don't necessarily need that type of guidance. So sometimes the judges will ask for your older children's email addresses or telephone numbers and will reach out to them directly when it's time to conduct the interview. With the younger children, and especially with both children, they're going to generally ask for the children to be in a room by themselves with a door that closes in order to give them privacy, in order to allow them to testify freely. Even with that, there can be concerns that a child may be influenced or a child may not be comfortable saying something negative when they have to walk right out the door and see the party that they're talking about. And oftentimes there may be concerns that that party is still going to overhear what's being said during their testimony. So if that's an issue, you want to make sure that you bring that up with your attorney so that they can address it with the judge in the appropriate fashion. Now, even though the majority of virtual court hearings that are happening, the child interviews that go with those are happening virtually as well, that doesn't always have to be the case. Sometimes judges are actually still having you bring the children in so that they can conduct those interviews in person outside of the presence of the parties. And if that is the case, or if that is what you would like, again, speak with your attorney to see the best way to address this. It's always important to make sure you have these things squared away prior to your hearing. If it becomes an issue later on and you're in the middle of a hearing, it can slow things down. If the judge now has to have the child come in and they don't have the availability to take them right away, you can be looking at days, weeks, months even before the judge is able to get the child back into the courtroom to be able to finish their interview or conduct their interview. So it's important that you think about these things ahead of time, that you plan adequately for them, that you speak with your attorney about any concerns you have about your children being able to be interviewed virtually or maybe in the household of the other party, and they can take that up with the judge. As always, you want to speak to an attorney licensed in your area about the facts specific to your case. These videos are not legal advice. They are for educational and informational purposes only. I hope that you found this one helpful. Again, check out the previous video with the 5 tips on how to make your virtual hearing run smoothly. Make sure you subscribe. Leave me some comments below. Let me know what topics you'd like us to cover. These videos are here for you. So we want to make sure that we're answering the questions that you guys have. All right, until next time, take care.